Hey everybody, this is Anthony for VR Game Rankings, and welcome to another episode of our daily vlog series. This is episode 21 for Monday, October 30th. And you know what, guys? Not a lot of news that isn't PlayStation VR related. We have a ton of PlayStation VR game announcements to get into. And wait a minute, before you guys tune out and think, you know what, I don't care about PlayStation VR, I'm guessing that a pretty good percentage of my audience is HTC Vive owners, Oculus Rift owners, and you guys are PC VR gamers. And so you probably don't care that much about PlayStation VR. But here's the thing, the vast majority of these PlayStation VR games are going to come to the Oculus Rift and to the HTC Vive and also to the Windows mixed reality headsets. So I think it's a good idea to go ahead and still watch today's episode and hear about all these different game announcements and my take on some of these different game announcements. And the whole entire episode is not going to be that. We don't really have any big regular news in the world of VR gaming other than Sony Paris Game Show that's going on. It was basically today or earlier this morning. So many trailers, so many announcements. We got a lot of interesting stuff to get into. And some of this stuff is PC VR related. Do you guys remember Triangular Pixels, the developer of Unseen Diplomacy? Well, their next game has been officially revealed. So that's huge news right there. I mean, Unseen Diplomacy, one of the most interesting VR games that we have for PC VR, and they have a new game that has been announced, and we're going to get into that. Also, Transference, a really big game coming in the spring of 2018. Actual gameplay footage of the game has been shown. We're going to get into that. So there's a lot of good stuff to talk about here. Now, all of this is very PlayStation VR heavy, but again, like I said, a lot of these games are going to be coming to PC VR. They're going to be coming to the Rift. They're going to be coming to Vive and Windows Mixed Reality. And that's kind of the situation that we're dealing with in VR gaming right now. There's so much cross-pollination. You have PlayStation VR games that end up going over to the PC headsets, and then you got PC VR games that go to the PlayStation VR, and it's just back and forth. It's a mixture. It's like that. And so a lot of these announcements, I think, are still very important for anybody, even if you don't have a PlayStation VR headset. And if you do have a PlayStation VR headset, there is a lot of exciting stuff that was revealed today. So let's go ahead and get into it. Wait, one quick second before I get into that, I just want to mention that in terms of regular, normal news, it's basically Pimax. Pimax all the time. Do you guys remember the daily vlog for Friday where I said Pimax, Pimax, Pimax? I'm sick to death of Pimax. Well, damn, I must be a psychic, because I'll tell you what, all of Friday, all of Saturday, all of Sunday, and continuing today, if you've been on the Vive subreddit, if you've been on the Oculus subreddit, it is all Pimax all the time. And it's like, oh my God, when is this stuff going to stop? But we already got into that on Friday. But I'm just saying, man, was I on the money or not? Because I'm telling you, if you guys go to the various VR subreddits, it is just Pimax overload. And it's like, can we finally move on past this Pimax stuff? The only actual news that came out in regards to Pimax is it did hit the 3 million mark, so they are going to include eye tracking. So I don't know what the 4 million mark is going to be, or if they're going to try to do something else. It's just kind of ridiculous. Pimax all the time. But let's get into some of this Paris Games Week stuff, because there has been quite a few announcements, a lot of interesting games. We're seeing some trailers we've never seen before, games that we've never seen before, and there's a lot to comment on as far as this stuff goes. Okay, so obviously Sony is having their Paris Games Week. It kicked off. There's lots of game trailers, sizzle reels, and stuff like that. The first game I want to get into that was shown off at this, in the sizzle trailer, is Transference. So we heard about Transference, I believe it was last E3, And Transference is this new property that's coming from Elijah Woods and some other luminaries that have got together to make a new media company that's going to SpectraVision, I believe is what it's called, SpectraVision. It's kind of a new media company. Elijah Woods, I know, is one of the main founders of it, but a couple other people were founders. And basically, the idea is that they're going to look at all these new emerging technologies, virtual reality, augmented reality, and they're going to try to see what can they do with this stuff and combine it with film, combine it with television, combine it with episodic content and things like that. And that's what we heard about with Transference. Now, the thing about Transference, when we heard about it back at E3, we really didn't get actual gameplay footage or actual screenshots of the real game. We got just a tiny amount of information. We knew that it was a big deal. We know that it's coming in spring of 2018. We know that it's coming to all the major platforms as far as we know, but we didn't get too much information on it. Well, about 8 seconds of real gameplay footage was shown off in this PlayStation VR sizzle trailer. Now, did we really learn a ton from this 8 seconds of footage? No, not really. I mean, it's kind of cut, zoom, zoom, zoom. You know, you see a few things, but hey, we saw actual gameplay footage. This appears to be a real video game, and so that is exciting. Now, there wasn't any extra information that was revealed, no release date or anything that I'm aware of. This is still probably on track for a spring 2018 release. Now, one question we have to ask, though, is it possible that this could come to PlayStation VR before it comes to the Vive, before it comes to the Rift, or maybe Microsoft Mixed Reality? Well, we don't know anything about that, but actual gameplay footage of the PSVR version was shown in this PlayStation VR sizzle reel, so you might want to check that out. I'll see if I can put links in this video to a lot of these different trailers that I'm going to talk about here, and then you guys can also check out the trailer yourself. So Transference was a big one. I'm just going to go down the list of a lot of the different games that was shown off for PlayStation VR. And again, a lot of this stuff will come to the Vive, will come to the Rift, so it's all interesting. Okay, so Ultra Wings VR. Now, this is obviously... Ultra Wings VR already came to the Vive. It already came to the Rift. We've been waiting on a PlayStation VR version for quite some time, but there's never been like an official, legit announcement. Now, the developer BitPlanet Games, they've tweeted a couple of things here and there, like a picture of Ultra Wings mentioning something about PSVR, but we've never had like a iron concrete announcement about Ultra Wings VSR, but it has now been officially confirmed. It is coming to PlayStation VR. Unfortunately, we didn't get a date for this. The footage looked great. Okay, so this was running on real PlayStation VR. I mean, it's a PlayStation VR trailer, and it's using real PSVR footage, and it looked absolutely great. Looked really good. I'm guessing they, of course, are probably using PlayStation 4 Pro footage, but it still looked fantastic. So this game's looking good. It's coming probably later this year, I would guess, although we did not get any kind of release information. So that's pure speculation on my part, but man, it looked pretty damn good. I still have not played Ultra Wings on either the Vive or the Rift. I haven't played this game at all. I remember when it first came out, I was super hyped about it because it looked very much like Pilot Wings, and I'm a huge Pilot Wings fan. I've liked all the various Pilot Wings games, and it looked very much like Pilot Wings, but I know when Ultra Wings first hit the Rift, it was a little bit more expensive than maybe some people thought it was, and the reviews were very meh. You know, it was just kind of a meh review. Like some people kind of liked it, other people kind of dogged on it, and I just never got around to playing it. And then it finally came to the Vive. I still didn't get around to playing it, and now it's going to be coming to PlayStation VR, but it really did look pretty good. Another one that was announced is Megalith. This is by developer Disruptive Games. This is coming sometime in 2018. And now this, of course, was shown off for PlayStation VR, but I would not be the least bit surprised if Megalith will eventually come to the HTC Vive or to the Oculus Rift. So this is something to keep our eye on. Disruptive Games is the developer. And basically what was shown in this trailer, not a ton was revealed. Actually, let me go ahead and read what it talks about in the trailer. It says, "Before the world was ours, Titans battled for supremacy, and the champion would become a god." Become a god 2018. So that's kind of the idea here. So at the very end of the trailer, what it shows is this giant monster creature, and you're looking at your monster hands, and you're kind of like moving your hands around and looking at your hands and stuff like that. And basically what it is this game, what it kind of feels like to me, now I'm really kind of going off on a limb here because we don't have that much information, but when I was watching the trailer for this game, for some reason I started thinking of Pacific Rim. And in Pacific Rim, like the giant robot monsters like battling each other, for some reason I kind of got that vibe from this game a little bit, but it might not have absolutely nothing to do with that. But they do mention Titans battling for supremacy, and the champion would become a god. And so I have a feeling that you're going to have control over like a giant monster type character. I don't know if you're going to be battling other players or if it's a more single player type thing. Not sure exactly what that is, but Megalith sometime in 2018, hopefully we'll get some more information about that, but it definitely looked interesting. Sprint Vector by Survios. Now, obviously, Survios, the raw data developer, we know that they're going to have additional games that they're bringing out, and the next one does appear to be Sprint Vector. Now, Sprint Vector has been well known for the HTC Vive and the Oculus Rift as a new game that's coming. It's never been officially clarified as a PlayStation VR game, although many people have assumed it would be because Survios brought raw data to PlayStation VR. So it's very possible that, most people assumed that they'll probably do the same thing with Sprint Vector, that it will come to all three platforms, and that is absolutely the case. It was shown off, the trailer was shown off. It definitely looked like PlayStation VR footage. It wasn't quite as graphically intense as maybe the Vive or Oculus Rift trailer would be, but it still looked really good. We don't have a date on this, so we have no idea if this is still coming, if this could be coming sometime this year or if this is an early 2018 title, but it does look really good. The whole thing about Sprint Vector is you're running in VR and you're running as fast as you can. Now, I don't know if you're actually using like the Vive wands or the Oculus Touch controllers or PlayStation Move controllers, and if you're actually doing this motion or not, but if you are, I think that's kind of cool because like I said, in Vindicta, which is one of my most overlooked games, really, and underrated games, Vindicta, you use this arm swinging mechanism to move around the world, and it's just really fun. It's like you're roller skating around the world. You're just moving around super fast. And when I watched the Sprint Vector trailer, it kind of looks like that. It kind of looks like a similar type of thing. So I'm not sure if you're actually going to be moving your arms or how the locomotion is going to work with Sprint Vector, but it definitely looked like a co-op thing, like a multiplayer kind of thing, and it kind of reminded me of To the Top as well. To the Top is one of my favorite games of 2017, and in that game it's more of a platforming game, and I'm not sure how much platforming is going to be involved in Sprint Vector, but part of To the Top is trying to get to the end of the level as quickly as you possibly can, grabbing onto these things, launching yourself, and moving through the level. And Sprint Vector reminds me of that a little bit. It's almost like a racing game, like you're a car, but you don't have wheels or whatever, but you're a car and you're racing through the environment. That's what Sprint Vector kind of reminds me of. Looks interesting, and we'll have to see if we get a date for that a little bit later. Star Child by Playful. Okay, so all of us love Lucky's Tale. Lucky's Tale has been one of the better VR games that is out there for anybody to enjoy. It's a free game. If you have a Vive, you can use Revive and play it. If you have an Oculus Rift, I'm sure you've probably already played this game as well. Well, the developer Playful is working on a couple of different games, I believe. Obviously, they're doing Super Lucky's Tale for Microsoft. We're still hoping there might be an announcement at some point that Super Lucky's Tale is going to come to the Microsoft mixed reality platform as a VR playable game, but we still haven't heard anything about that. But the other game that they're working on is for PlayStation VR. It is published by Game Trust, which they recently published The Invisible Hours by Tequila Works. So Game Trust is getting involved in VR games to a degree. Star Child, we don't really know much about it, but a new trailer was released, very cinematic, very CGI. I don't know that this new trailer is showing any gameplay footage whatsoever, but looking at the trailer, I'll say that it kind of appears like you're this little character, okay, that is running around and you control that little character, but it seems like you're also working with some big gigantic creature that will hold out its hand and you're like standing on its hand. So I don't know if there's some type of back and forth play between a giant towering behemoth and then this little character that's running around in the world, but that's what it might be. It might be kind of a mixture of the two. Maybe you get to control the little character, but every once in a while you get to control this gigantic behemoth of a titan, kind of like that other game Megalith to a degree. So Star Child, also, we did not get any kind of date, so no idea if this is coming in this year. I remember a long time ago, a lot of people thought Star Child is a 2017 release. I kind of feel, hey, October is almost gone, okay? We've only got one more day in October, then we're into November. And if we haven't heard a date by now, I don't think this is coming this year. So my guess is Star Child is probably an early 2018 game, but no guarantees on that. We still don't know, but there is a new trailer, although not much game footage has been shown. Bow to Blood by Tribe Toy. This is a game that was announced for PSVR. This one was announced to be coming sometime in 2018, so this is not on the very near horizon. So what is this game, Bow to Blood? Well, watching the trailer, the thing that really struck me is if you've played a number of like Final Fantasy games, you know how in Final Fantasy they have these big airships that are almost like pirate ships or old style ships, but they're flying in the air and they're having battles in the air. That's really what this game looked like. It looked like you're going to take control of a Final Fantasy type airship and you're going to be captaining the ship and making decisions as like the main, almost in the main cockpit of the ship. It's almost like a flight sim, like an Eve Valkyrie or an In Space or a Everspace, kind of like a flight sim, but instead of outer space, instead of like seeing planets and other spaceships, you're kind of in this Skies of Arcadia type thing, or some type of Final Fantasy airship battle where you're battling other ships. That's why it's bow to blood. You're on the bow of your starship and you're firing cannons, and it's almost got some pirate flair to it. Sea of Thieves is coming to the Xbox One. It kind of has a little bit of that feel as well. This obviously is a VR game and it's made by a company called Tribe Toy. Never heard of it. It is coming in 2018. Looks kind of interesting. We don't know that much about it, but you can definitely check that one out. Okay, so Apex Construct. There was a sizzle reel at one point where Sony was just showing off a bunch of games, and this is where we got like that 7 or 8 seconds of Transference. And we also got a quick little burst of Apex Construct by Fast Travel Games. However, if you do a Google search for Apex Construct by Fast Travel Games, there's a separate trailer. There's a separate trailer for it that is a long trailer. And what it says in the trailer, it says coming first to PlayStation VR, but it does have the little symbols for the Oculus Rift, for HTC Vive, and for Windows Mixed Reality. So this is an example, and a lot of these games are going to be doing this. A lot of these games are going to be coming to PlayStation VR first for maybe a short, limited exclusivity period, and then they're going to bounce over to the Rift and to the Vive. And I know some of you out there get really irritated by this. The whole idea of exclusives and timed exclusives can be incredibly irritating and incredibly frustrating. But the one thing I think all of us need to understand is that the VR gaming industry is still very new, and we're going through growing pains and we're going through birthing pains, and it's very early on in this whole VR ecosphere, really. And so companies are going to have to make decisions, long-term decisions, for the viability of the company. And if they can bring out a game on PlayStation VR and it has to go to PlayStation VR for maybe a month before it goes anywhere else, and they can get some extra money and they can get some extra marketing from Sony, a lot of companies are going to do this. And I don't think we should hold it against these companies. I think we have to think more of, well, one thing I always mention is we're beggars, we're not choosers. We're not in a position to be incredibly demanding and dismissive of everything. We have to kind of just be happy with all of this good stuff that we're getting. Eventually, all the good stuff seems to go everywhere. So let's just be a little bit happier about it and know that in time, all these games are pretty much going to touch all these platforms for the most part. And there's no reason to get too worried about timed exclusivity. But Apex Construct by Fast Travel Games looks quite interesting. And this is a game where it's like bow and arrow type gameplay. And looking at the video for this game, I encourage you guys to check out the trailer. And again, what I will try to do is I'm going to try to find the official trailers for all these games that I'm talking about, and I'll try to put that in the YouTube description so you guys can go ahead and check on that and take a look at the official trailer. What you could do actually is you could watch some of the official trailers and then come back and watch my thoughts on this, or watch the trailer and then, pause my video, go watch the trailer real quick, and then come back and see what I'm saying about these trailers. But the thing that I thought of when I saw Apex Construct, the bow and arrow thing, it reminded me of two games. It reminded me of Horizon Zero Dawn on PlayStation 4, and it also reminded me of Enslaved. Okay, and these are two really cool games that have similar vibes. It's kind of this futuristic world where you don't know what went wrong, but it seems like something went wrong, and there's robot creatures, the Horizon Zero Dawn kind of story. But I really got that kind of vibe from Apex Construct. We didn't get a date for this, so we have no idea if this might come later this year or if it's coming in 2018. I kind of assume most of these games are coming in 2018 because, again, we don't have that much time left. 2 days from now, we're going to be in November, and usually if you don't come out in November or early December, you're going to wait until 2018. So most of this stuff is probably 2018 unless we get a specific date in the very near term. But Apex Construct, definitely one to keep your eye on, and it's absolutely coming to PC VR platforms. It's already been made clear, so definitely one to look forward to. Eden Tomorrow. So this was shown in the Sony sizzle reel, but you only got to see a very few brief seconds of this game. And I've done some Google searches on Eden Tomorrow. I did a Google search on Eden Tomorrow PSVR. I did a Google search on Eden Tomorrow VR. I can't find anything on this game. I can't find a developer. I can't find anything. So we really don't know much about Eden Tomorrow. What I will say is that the sizzle reel, the footage that was shown, made it look very much almost like a Farpoint. Like it looks like a big time game, a very expensive game. Of course, that could just be a CGI trailer that just makes it look really good, and then the actual game might not be that great. But it does look kind of like a grand adventure on the level of something like Farpoint, and it seemed very similar to Farpoint when you see the footage of this, but we don't have any additional details on this right now. So I'm going to try to do some more searches and try to do some more investigation on Eden Tomorrow, because I'd like to know, who is the developer of this game. We don't even know who the developer is. Okay, so talking about developers, I mentioned at the very top of the episode Triangular Pixels. So anybody that has played Unseen Diplomacy The thing about Unseen Diplomacy, of all the games that take advantage of room scale capabilities, if you have an HTC Vive and you have a relatively large play space to work with, Unseen Diplomacy is absolutely fantastic. It's only $3. It's not really a game, and it's very brief. It doesn't last very long. I mean, yeah, I guess it is a game, but it's just very short. But the thing about Unseen Diplomacy that is so amazing is Triangular Pixels takes advantage of every square inch of space that you have. And this is a real locomotion game. Like, there is no other locomotion. You just actually move around in your space like it's real world. You walk around, you open up doors, and the way they do it in Unseen Diplomacy is they know exactly what kind of square or rectangle you're working with, and so they'll create obstructions where you can't go, so you don't go out of your play space. You're always turned around. You're going through this door, you're going up this elevator, down this elevator, and it keeps you within its world, but it does such an outstanding job of it. The only downside with Unseen Diplomacy is your cord. Your umbilical cord will start tugging and pulling on you. You have to get down on the ground, and you're climbing through passageways. It's super cool. If you guys have the space, and you do need a pretty good sized area for Unseen Diplomacy, definitely check that out. But I remember ever since we got the original Unseen Diplomacy, I've been thinking, what the hell is Triangular Pixels working on? Because I really want to know what these guys are working on. Well, we've found out what they're working on. They're working on a game called Smash Hit Plunder. And so this game is known as a VR Tear It Up. Okay, and so I'll go ahead and read what they have on their website. Smash Hit Plunder lets players explore and wreck a dungeon, looking for as much treasure as possible. Rediscover the joy of smashing things, making a mess, and finding money down the back of your sofa, all without the job of cleaning up afterwards. Go on treasure hunts, defeat your enemies, and hide from ghosts as you plunder your way through a castle in virtual reality. Grab your loot and keep smashing. So that is the description for Smash Hit Plunder. Now, this is on PlayStation VR. I mean, it was shown in this sizzle reel, and they showed footage of it, and it looks really cool. It definitely looks kind of like a Zelda dungeon style game where you're in that kind of environment. Graphics are very simplistic, but what Triangular Pixels is doing here, one thing that everybody learns about VR pretty quickly is that when you get a VR headset, you'll notice a lot of experiences allow you to grab things and just throw them, smash them against the wall. I mean, how many VR games will put like a wine bottle somewhere, and you can pick up the wine bottle and you throw it, and it smashes on the ground. One thing we learn incredibly quickly is that smashing things, throwing things around is just really fun in VR, because in real life, if you do that, you're going to make a serious mess. You're going to break a lot of stuff, and you're going to have some pissed off people that come back to your apartment or your house later and see stuff smashed all over the place. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for Gorn, but the official trailer for Gorn, it's this one lady, she's playing Gorn, she has her headset on, and she's just completely wrecking this apartment. It must have been incredibly fun for them to film that commercial. Like, they destroyed TVs, they destroyed all kinds of stuff. They basically said, look, we're going to make it an apartment, we're going to fill it up with shit, but we're going to smash the living hell out of it, but it's all part of this commercial. Let's just have fun with it. And that's what they did with that Gorn commercial. Well, in VR, it's fun to smash and wreck things and destroy things, and that's what you're going to be doing in Smash Hit Plunder. But you're also going to be trying to find treasure and loot as you do it. And I guess you're going to be battling enemies. It says defeat your enemies, hide from ghosts. So I guess there's going to be ghosts that maybe screw around with you in this game. So it looks pretty cool. I can tell you this much. Whatever Triangular Pixels brings out, I'm interested in, because I've already saw what they've done so far with Unseen Diplomacy. I will say, though, I'm a little bit disappointed because, okay, so this is on PSVR. PSVR does not have room scale whatsoever. So when they made, I mean, well, not whatsoever, but if it does have room scale, it's a very small little square that it has. If you guys have played PlayStation VR Worlds, where they put you in the shark tank, The Shark Tank gives you like a rectangular square, and that's basically the size of room scale that PlayStation VR has with that one single camera. And so there's no room scale here. So I'm kind of worried. I'm sure that this game is going to eventually come to the Vive and it's going to come to the Rift. It would make absolutely perfect sense. Maybe Microsoft Mixed Reality as well. But will it take any advantage of room scale in the way that Unseen Diplomacy did? And I'm a little bit worried about that. But at the same time, you have to understand the business ramifications of this. Unseen Diplomacy, if you try to buy that game, it warns you about your room scale space. And there's a lot of people that they can't play Unseen Diplomacy unless they fake they have bigger space than they really do. It won't even let you play it. Like Gary has a pretty small little space in that little office room that he uses there. I don't know that he could play Unseen Diplomacy in the way that I could play Unseen Diplomacy. And a developer like Triangular Pixels, they want to try to sell this stuff to everybody. They don't want to just sell it to like 1% of the audience. So I don't know if there will be any real advantage of room scale when Smash Hit Plunder eventually hits the Vive or the Oculus Rift. That's a little disappointing, but still I am encouraged. I do want to see what these guys bring to the table. They did such a great job with Unseen Diplomacy that I kind of want to give them the benefit of the doubt. That's Triangular Pixels with Smash Hit Plunder. And I'm sure this is coming to PlayStation VR first and then later, so there will be a delay there. And once again, I try to tell people, look, let's get over the whole exclusivity drama, the entitlement of we need everything on every platform right away, fuck this bullshit, blah blah blah. Let's just be happy with the stuff that we get and know that things will eventually trickle down to all the platforms and everything will work out great. Okay, another game that was shown off is League of War VR Arena. This is again for PlayStation VR. This is developed by Monkey Fun. Okay, so this game was announced a while back, but I never saw it. I just never kept track of this game. I didn't know anything about it. This is my first time seeing it, and watching the trailer for this, it looks very much like Skyworld or Brass Tactics. It's a real-time strategy game. You're placing your units, it's like you're standing at a table, very much like Skyworld or Brass Tactics. And you have a competitor that's standing on the other side of the table. And one of the coolest things about this game, I believe there's a full trailer for this. I'll try to have a link for it as well. But one of the cool things about this trailer is, this game, is it uses co-op couch mode gameplay where, similar to Playroom VR, you could have one person that's wearing the headset and they're playing with their Move controllers. You can have another person sitting on the sofa with a DualShock 4 and you can play each other. And so it's that asynchronous gameplay where you're both in the game but you have different views. That's going on in League of War VR Arena. Looks pretty cool. I'm not really into the real-time strategy game. I've talked about this before. Eventually, it just becomes a multitasking situation, and it's almost stressful for me. Like, I don't really look to that as fun. But watching the trailer for this, it just looks fun. It looks really cool. This is a game I'd actually like to try out because it seems more, to me, just looking at the trailer, it doesn't seem like it's made for experts of this genre. It looks like it might be a good beginner's entry level into real-time strategy. It looks really cool. The graphics look pretty damn good. So that is League of War VR Arena by developer Monkey Fun. So I know I'm way past the 30-minute mark. I just wanted to try to cover all these games that were shown off at the Paris Games Week for PlayStation VR. And again, I know that most of my audience is probably HTC Vive gamers, Oculus Rift gamers, and you're probably thinking, man, you just wasted an entire episode on PlayStation VR crap. Again, a lot of this stuff is going to be coming to the Vive and coming to the Rift. Transference is coming to the Vive and it's coming to the Rift. Megalith by Disruptive Games. We don't have any announcement, but I'm going to guess that this stuff is coming to the Vive and the Rift. Sprint Vector is coming to the Vive and the Rift. Now, Star Child, It's being published by Game Trust. I'm sure they have a deal with PlayStation, but that could come to the Vive and Rift later. Bow to Blood, that could come to the Vive and Rift. Apex Construct is coming to the Vive, Rift, and Windows Mixed Reality. Eden tomorrow, we don't know. Smash Hit Plunder by Triangular Pixels, I'm pretty sure, they've already had a game on the Vive with Unseen Diplomacy, so I'm pretty sure they're going to bring that as well. League of War VR Arena, I'm not sure, but it looked like it would make the translation very well. So a lot of big game announcements, and the only other news that's going on is Pimax. And so personally, I'm happy that I really didn't have to deal with Pimax too much, and we got all these game announcements from Paris Games Week. So what I'm going to try to do, guys, is I'm going to try to get this up on the YouTube channel as quickly as possible, but then after that, I'm going to look for the actual direct link to the actual trailers from these actual developers, if I can find them. If not, I'll have to link to some other third party that got a hold of the trailer and posted it. But hopefully you guys will be able to take a look at some of these trailers and see if these games appeal to you. And you can go ahead and put a comment in the YouTube video if you have a comment about any of these games, or which ones you think are the best, or if you want to comment about the exclusivity drama. If you want to complain about the exclusivity situation or make your point known as far as that, you can do that as well. Once again, I'll ask everybody, please subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, and do all that type of stuff. Go ahead, leave comments, all that type of thing. This has been VR Game Rankings Daily Vlog, episode 21 for Monday, October 30th, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Later.